Hello there everybody, so by now taking it and let me adjust this microphone. And welcome back to Tokyo Babel. In the last episode, we came across the stigma of visual novels everywhere. Fan service, though I'm not entirely sure what's worse, the fact that they were all dressing up in rather scandalous outfits, or the fact that I nearly saw Raziel basically strip in a maid outfit. Not entirely sure what's worse. Anyway. Also, unfortunately, this recording might not be as long as it's supposed to be. Mostly because my work schedule hates me. Well, at least me and Raziel have something in common. We can't handle even the smell of alcohol. Raziel I had a mild seizure. Raziel seemed still pretty sick. Bankai? Yeah, that'd be kind of weird. I doubt Tech Mech Punch would actually help, considering it's an ocular ability, so... I thought her suggestions had problems. Or rather, were out of the question entirely. Well, as long as it's not grant me sight beyond sight, because if it was, you might get sued. Raziel took a glance at her tablet. Boot? Boot, as in to boot a computer. At that very moment, her eyes started glittering in light. The golden pupils peered at the world beyond. I wasn't particularly keen on getting a poet's role all of a sudden. Well, maybe I was a little. Oh, that's fucked up. Terror contorted her features. Sormi suddenly shuddered. Lilith gave her a worried look and... Sormi, her face pale as a ghost, clung to my arms. I could tell she certainly wasn't, but I thought it'd help her relax if I asked calmly and keep the tension from appearing in my voice. Sormi pointed her still shaking finger in the general direction without letting out a sound. Sormi got a hold of my arm before I could continue with my objections. 役に立てるかもしれないでしょ。しかし、セツナは私を守るって約束したでしょ。約束破るのは良くないよ。 She forced a smile.
大丈夫だって。逃げ足早い方だし、運も強い方だから、私ってば。
I took a deep breath, repressing the complicated feelings I harbored towards Lilith and Raziel on this matter, and all other thoughts holding me back.
分かった。屋上の約束、忘れてない。
覚えてる。何かあったら即逃げる。だよね。
よし。じゃあ、行こうか。
Sormy sorry about that. Sormy firmly clutched my arm again. I just can't read right now.
はい。いってらっしゃい。
Lilith saw us off with a refreshing smile on her lips. Sormy answered her with a reproachful look.
そう。人を戦地に送り出して、その爽やかな笑顔。
Though the tone of her voice suggested there was little genuine scorn directed at Lilith in her heart. It seemed like she wasn't even overly hesitant to take in and come to terms with the idea that she was being seen off to a possible death. That behavior mystified me a little, actually, now that I thought about it. The very existence of this girl, Kugutsu Sorumi, was by itself a bit strange. Raziel, looking at the receding backs of the two, gave Lilith a hesitant glance.
本当にこれでいいと思っているの？
まさかいいわけないでしょ。せっかく手に入れた貴重な人材なのに第二階層なんぞで死なせてたまりますか。
なら
人間は甘やかしたところで成長しないのよ、ラジエル。
だがこれでは苛烈すぎだ。せめて
手伝う？まあ確かに刹那を手伝って3人がかりで押し込めば大抵はうまくいくでしょうよ。でもそれでは刹那が強くならない。
彼のレゾンデートルが見つかっていないことを言っているのか。
そうよ。これから先コーラスは加速度的にひどくなる。己が存在するべき意味を見出さなければあっという間に汚染されるわ。違う？
違わないけれど。
戦いにおいて己の存在意義をつかみ取るケースは多い。それを祈るわ。
空見はあの子はそもそも戦闘能力が皆無のはずだけど。
大丈夫よ。私あの構成防壁割と本気で作ったもの。ラジエル、あなたの未来誘導機能だってあらゆる攻撃手段を予測しているでしょ。
まあそうだけど。
Lilith's barrier could sense all sorts of attacks, be they physical, mental, or magical, and automatically counter them. Raziel's guidance system, on the other hand, would take control of the caster's body just before the attack and guide them away from any future peril. Of course, they were not spells that truly threaten a master with. However, they should have been enough to provide Lilith and Raziel with sufficient time to save her at the very least. They were not planning to let Sormi die, and they hoped Setsu would not either. That was the real situation.
それにしてもこれなんで切ったのかしら。
空気の魔力を上乗せした斬撃。
その程度でこうはならないでしょ。こうはてかよく見なさいよ。このビルにあったもの一切合切、ここまで綺麗に切るなんてよほどないものよ。
A multi-pronged blade? A building with its upper portion missing loomed in front of Lilith's pointed finger. Its concrete walls, toughened glass windows, steel desks, computers, and fridges had been cut clean through like paper.
だいたい切られた残りはどこへ消えたの？吹き飛ばされた？でもそうだとしたら机が一つくらい倒れてないとおかしくない？
空間そのものを切断する武器とか。
Yeah, that makes sense. But there were those before him with such powers. There was Caladbolg of Celtic legends, Tyrving, that Odin's descendants made dwarves craft in the tales of the Norse. The name of Caladbolg came from the Middle Welsh of hard cleft. It was said it could never cover the distance of the rainbow in a single swing. It said that it could cover the distance of the rainbow in a single swing, and had the power to slice the tops off hills. Tirving, on the other hand, was a cursed blade that could cut through stones and iron like butter, and guaranteed victory in any battle as long as it was allowed to take the life of at least one foe. It was said to ruin its wielder in exchange for granting them 3 wishes. Both of these did not cut through the physical body of the object, but severed its existence from this universe itself. Even the strongest of armors mattered little in front of those blades.
それほどの威力のものをここまで精密に動かせるもの
For Lilith knew that in exchange for their powers, both blades had to sacrifice wieldiness. They were huge, heavy, poorly balanced, and would start cutting through the continuum of the universe itself as soon as they'd find themselves removed from their sheaths. It was nearly impossible to control their trajectories with precision. Both of them were designed to battle armies. Their smiths never had one-on-one fights in mind. And if you were to slice through a building with either of those swords, you would have never managed to leave a cut as precise and beautiful as the one Lilith was staring at. There was no weapon in this world that could both cut through the totality of matter and leave edges as precise and sharp as a razor.
動かせるかもしれない。そういう能力を持っていたらの話だけど。
もしくは
完全なる未知の武器。
That is also a possibility.
そうでないことを祈るわ。対策立てられないもの。
The blade of the future! Lilith gave Raziel a resigned shrug.
空。
The few traces of gray that so faintly colored the jet-black sky clouds suddenly started swirling around as if on fire. The master of the second stratum finally made his move.
戦闘開始ね。
As if taking a cue from her words, the top of the lone building in the distance vanished to the nether. Clutching Sormi tight in my arms, I soared through the sky.
怖いか
まあ、やっぱりね。
She wasn't used to this method of travel yet, and neither could she fly herself. I couldn't blame her for finding the experience uncomfortable.
君を腰と首の部分でしっかり締め付けているので落下の心配はない
I think that's the reason why she's also nervous.
ねえ、もっとロマンチックに言ってみて。
A challenging request indeed. So in short, I had to convey the fact that she had more than enough proper leverage, and shouldn't worry about falling to her death in an arousing way. Somehow.
君を離したりはしない決して
Oh god. It appeared to have worked, though I wish she didn't dig her nails into my side during that display of her maidenly bashfulness.
空見例の首以外に見えるものはあるか
うん、この通りをまっすぐ進んだあのビル、名前なんだっけ？割と有名だったことは覚えているんだけど。
Ah, that one. I believe its name was Roppongi Building.
うん、それだ。そのビルの玄関に、おしばくんが座っている。
Yay. I used nanomachines to temporarily boost my vision. There was in fact someone sitting on the ground in front of the building. Wait, no. I think he was actually down on his knees there.
空見大丈夫
大丈夫！
Stormy took a deep breath, with which all of her anxiety seemed to evaporate. Even the rates of her heart and breathing seemed to have calmed down. Only the sweat on her forehead betrayed the tension of the situation. What about me? I could adjust my fear levels with nanomachines, but I wondered if I could have remained as collected as she was without them. I tried imagining being in her shoes for a bit, but soon decided such thoughts held practical value and discarded them. I landed on the ground and proceeded towards the building on my own 2 feet. And then it finally caught my eyes. Oof. That's a pleasant image. Countless pikes covered the vicinity of the building, all with a head twisted in a mask of pain mounted on them. Humans, demons, and angels equally shared in the gruesome display. There were no bodies, only heads. Sormi fixed her gaze on the ground, away from the grisly sight. I couldn't blame her.
来客か久しぶりな気もする
Hello there. Yoshiba Hagane, still kneeling, acknowledged our presence.
大柴鋼でそういないか
The kneeling boy gave us a nonchalant nod. He continued observing us in silence.
この階層に来たということは君たちパンドラの住人は 未だ東京バベルの踏破を諦めてないということか。
諦められるはずないだろ。
There is naught but extinction waiting for us here.
諦めるべきなんだよ、人類は。
おしばくんは諦めているの？
Oshibahagane gave Sormi a nonchalant nod.
人類は滅ぶべきであり、天使と悪魔は舞台から退場するべきである。世界は新しくするべきだ。
新しい世界。
過ちを繰り返さない世界。愚か者のつがいが愚かな行為をしでかさない世界。永遠の安息と平穏を約束された世界。僕らはそこに生きるべきだ。
Hate to break it to you, Oshiba, but a world like that would just be downright boring.
それはまた。
It was as if he was talking about a dreamland of sorts, a place that could not possibly exist in this reality.
だが、その世界に過去の存在は必要ない。新しい世界には新しい道具を、古き道具をいつまでもダラダラと使用するべきではない。
なるほど。つまり古い存在である僕たちは
Oshibahagane gave me a nod.
ああ、古き道具は不要である。東京バベルを踏破する必要もない。だが、そうかといってそのままでは君の気が済まないだろう。
Compared to Miyako, I think that's her name, you are incredibly calm. Oh, mama, katana. He grasped the sword that lay next to him on the ground and stood up. Just from the looks of it, I could tell it was no ordinary weapon.
大きすぎない？
Let me guess, it's a washing pole. A most bizarre blade, looking almost like a zanbato. It was probably a type of odachi. It seemed to be about 300 centimeters long, with the blade alone reaching up to 250 at least. Along with its dazzling scarlet sheath, it looked more like a work of art than a weapon. Oshiba tapped the hilt of the blade, and the sheath enveloping it split in two, falling to the ground. It seemed it wasn't a sword that you could simply pull out of the sheath, and no wonder. The battle would be over before one could manage such a feat. As I looked more closely, I spotted some peculiar inscriptions painting an odd geometric pattern on the silver blade, hinting at some special purpose.
野立ち、白山姫、カバネ丸。世界最新の妖刀だ。
A witchblade. The world's newest.
君は剣を持っているな。大いによろしい。それでは、ルールを伝えよう。
Rules? Oshiba Hagane pulled out a pistol from under his coat. I jumped to cover Sormi with my back.
空
I caught the pistol that flew towards me out of reflex. Oshiba, meanwhile, declared the following.
これを使って僕を撃て。
What? The distance between us was 10 meters. The pistol seemed to be rather normal. It probably used .38 S&W caliber bullets. It was also fully loaded. I couldn't spot a single suspicious thing about it.
では遠慮なく。
And so I fired it. I could sense Sormi shudder behind my back. My bullet, just as aimed, drilled through Oshiba Hagane's eyeball, continuing on to devastate his brain. Oshiba Hagane toppled over. Did I kill him? Just like that? The next moment, the world around us fell apart. The world and I along with it shattered into pieces like a broken glass. I felt lightheaded, as if my soul had been torn away from within my body, the nether sucking it into its cold embrace. The two of us were back on the street as if nothing had happened. I was clutching the pistol that had yet to go off.
たった今、僕を射殺するという未来が消失した。
Oh. I let go of the trigger.
僕の未来はすでに確定している。僕は剣の刃を体に埋め込まれることで死ぬ。それ以外のいかなる未来を僕は否定する。
Huh. That's actually pretty damn cool.
それ以外のいかなる攻撃を僕という存在は拒絶してしまう。火災で死んだなら火災が起きる未来が消える。湖で溺れ死んだのであれば湖そのものが消失する。そう、僕の未来はただ一本の道しか残っていない。そして僕はそれに到達する人間が出てくるまでは生き残り続ける。
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. It wasn't future prediction, nor was it the type of defining the future Lilith and I suspected. Oshibahagane had already defined his future irrevocably, the future where he was killed by a sword. The world itself would deny any other outcome. Were he to die in any other way, the future would shatter and return to the past. That seemed to be the general mechanism behind his power. However,
なぜそのことを喋った？
if he didn't, I would have been at a serious disadvantage. Without knowing his ability, I would have most likely ended up being killed upon his death when my guard would be down.
僕は未来に進まなければならない。
つまり死ぬことを受け入れると？
Oshibahagane shook his head.
いいな。僕は戦って殺されなければならない。僕はただ全力で戦い、その結末を受け入れるだけ。それが僕の敗北で終わるのならば、それでよし。
You're literally the most level-headed of the masters.
勝利したのならば、君のような過去からの注入を再び待つまでだ。
この首たちはお前を未来へと導けなかった。
Oshibahagane gave me a nod. I got the gist of the situation and understood my next course of action.
ちょっと待って。
Sarmi jumped in front of me as I was about to advance. The shiver shaking her frame didn't come from the cold alone.
君は戦士ではない。この件には無関係だ。
Oshibahagane saw through Sormi in the blink of an eye. Apparently, he wasn't planning to cause her harm. I took a small breath of relief.
そういうことじゃなくて、聞きたいことがあるの。おしばくんの未来はそれしかないの？その殺されるって未来しか。
Oshibahagane gave her a confident nod as if it was the most obvious thing in the world.
ない。僕の未来はそう定められている。その代わりに得たのがこの力とカバネマルだ。十分すぎる。僕に不満はない。
Kabanemaru.
生きていたいと思わないの？
君はそう思うのか？
Sormi shrank as Oshibahagane cast his cold gaze on her. Nonetheless, refusing to give in to fear, she took a step towards him.
生きていたいよ。未来を生きたいってそう思う。
僕もそうだ。
なら
Oshibahagane shook his head in silence. He could more or less tell that what Sormi was about to say. Then you should wish to live in that future of yours. The future is not something you need to go out of your way to define.
ダメだ。僕の未来は確立している。僕に力を与えてくださったあの方はそうおっしゃった。
あの方って。
He... A hint of irritation passed across Oshibahagane's face.
どうでもいいだろう。話は終わりだ。君たちが死ねば弔おう。だが僕が死んだ。僕を弔ってくれ。
Sure. With that, he raised Kabanemaru to fighting position.
空に少し離れてくれ。
うん。
Sormi shuffled some distance away from us without complaining. Luckily, Oshibahagane had his full attention concentrated solely on me. It was unlikely he considered hurting Sormi. With a peculiar sense of trust towards my adversary, I pulled the sword of the 7 deadly sins out of the pocket dimension. His blade was about twice the length of mine. Even though the Bakati sword is already longer than most normal swords, its blade reached to about 120 centimeters. But being short had its own advantages, namely the effective distance. As long as I could get into close quarters, his long blade shouldn't be able to keep up with the speed of my shorter one. I activated the nanomachines in my blood, boosting my physical parameters. Sweltering, my veins filled my whole body with heat. However, my skin remained cold as ice. After all, Oshiba Hagane's murderous intent was like a winter's chill.
最後に君の名前を。
天道刹那。
天道刹那よ。第二階層支配者、押場鋼。押して、参る。
He suddenly disappeared from my sight. I kicked the ground and lunged to my left. As I did so, Kabanemaru's edge, cutting through the air with an ear-splitting rumble, grazed at my right shoulder. Oshiba Hagane, having his humongous downward strike evaded, was completely defenseless. I darted forward, aiming my sword at his neck. However, right as his long blade was about to hit the ground, it abruptly changed its trajectory and went for my neck instead. I jerked my head back with all my strength, saving my life by the skin of my collar. Nonetheless, what the hell was that? He seemed to put all of his strength in that downward strike. Yet it abruptly changed its trajectory mid-swing, and instead of crashing into the ground, it shot at my neck. I put some distance between us. This was, after all, not about irregular fencing. I remembered his words from when he introduced himself. The world's newest witchblade. Oshiba Hagane raised his sword again. The colossal blade seemed to hardly weigh a feather when in his hands. What? A creepy laugh escaping his hyena-like grin, he charged at me again. Not good. I gave up on any attempts to counter and concentrated only on dodging. The nanomachine shot electricity through my veins, temporarily boosting the acceleration of all nerves in my body. Kabanemaru, meanwhile, assaulted me like a thunderstorm, cutting through the air in reality-defying curves. The volley of consecutive strikes didn't give me time to breathe. Both his strength and speed were those of a demon. You could say Oshiba Hagane took the shape of a violent twister, devastating everything around him. I was out of options. I continued to dodge and dodge and dodge, forgetting I had a sword in my hands. But her words still somehow found their way to my ears. Without stopping to comprehend their meaning, I kicked off the ground with all my strength. Soaring up into the air, I locked onto Oshiba Hagane's defenseless head. The very next moment, without looking at me, he swung his arm in my direction. His swing, following me from the dirt of the ground to the depths of the sky, looked like a leaping snake. That action allowed me to finally understand Kabanemaru's nature. I didn't know the mechanism behind it, but that sword seemed to have an automatic tracking system of sorts. Was it temperature, carbon dioxide, or something else entirely? That I couldn't tell, but now I knew the sword could actually move ahead of Oshiba Hagane's own will. I had to sacrifice my right shoulder for this knowledge, though. Enduring the pain, I finally unleashed the power of my Pakati sword.
良心なき快楽、知恵も誇りもなく、ただひたすら食らい尽くす汝が姿を世に示せ。
Hey, Gluttony! I didn't hope for it to kill him, or to be exact, I knew it couldn't. I doubted it counted as a thrust of my sword. As the gluttonous beast manifested in front of him, Oshiba Hagane jumped straight into its open jaws, showing not a moment of hesitation. Not to die, but to dissect it from within. The beast's lower and upper jaws split in two. I wasn't particularly surprised he did away with my summon in the blink of an eye. A mere beast couldn't possibly stop that blade. His sword might have had an automatic tracking system, but he was still a first-rate swordsman himself. I jumped high into the sky, landing on the wall of one of the buildings. I glanced down and spotted Oshiba Hagane vaulting after me. The moment I readied the Pakati sword for a counterattack, my survival instinct forcefully froze me to a halt. I die. Definitely, without a doubt, absolutely. If I stayed here, I'd die. Whoa! I leapt further up towards the top of the building. Whoa. A blast followed Oshiba Hagane's words. The next time I blinked, a gash that appeared along the entire wall of the building I was on had appeared, and its upper half vanished. Soaring through the empty air with where the building used to be, I was speechless. It disappeared. It vanished without a trace. It didn't fly away with his blast, nor did it crumble to pieces. It just evaporated in thin air. A shudder rose up my spine. Sharpness, effective range? Those concepts are meaningless in the face of that blade. Oshiba Hagane looked up at me.
このビルは運命に従ってこの世から消え去った。僕のカバネは無数の未来を強制的に修練させる。あのビルの未来は消失と確定した。次はお前だ。
Oshiba Hagane kicked off the ground and lunged towards me. I had no other choice but to flee. Was that all I could do?
それ以外思いつかない。
I continued to run from Oshiba Hagane's persistent swings. I felt like a jet fighter trying to evade my pursuer's never-ending barrage of bullets. Locked on, he finally launched a missile at me. This time it was the lower portion of the building that vanished. The upper half hovered in the air for a few seconds, but it eventually sank down to the ground as gravity exerted its will on it. I slid under the building a moment before it hit the ground. I leapt through its crumbling inner portion and, breaking through the window, escaped outside. I clutched the Picati sword and called upon the power of sloth. The simmering gold rained on Oshiba Hagane like hellfire. Kabanemaru automatically deflected the falling liquid, but sloth wasn't the only beast I summoned.
人の鎖。
数でも好きか。無駄だ。
After doing away with the raining gold, Kabanemaru sliced through the rotting chains as if they were butter. But when Oshiba Hagane realized that it was a blade pursued next, he froze in shock. The next thing that flew at Oshiba Hagane was my own Picati sword, for I threw it at him. Nonetheless, I already knew the outcome of my attack. Though soaring through the air like an arrow, my sword would still be deflected by Kabanemaru. Without my sword, there was but one weapon left at my disposal. Tendao Setsuna, myself. I kicked off the wall, accelerating to my furthest limits, and lunged at him at speed that Kabanemaru's automatic tracking couldn't follow. I wasn't gifted with much magic. On top of that, the very little I had I still didn't know how to utilize properly. However, I had other powers that could work just as well. The powers that I was endowed with in my birth. Artificial magic achieved through gene manipulation, carrying the name of a Japanese thunder god, also known as PSI. Psi. The divine name is their trigger. The special nanomachine shot alive inside my body. My cells rewritten to that of an electric eel. I shot lightning from my right hand. I didn't need to touch him, much less hit him. As long as I could aim my palm in his precise direction. The lightning bolted from my hand and hit Oshiba Hagane, dispersing along his body, forcing his muscles to tense up and contract, paralyzing him. Regardless of his master's will, Kabanemaru nonetheless went after me. However, with his master's arm stiff, its swing flew slowly, late by seconds. I dodged away from him and grasped for my sword lying on the ground. In a frantic motion, I clutched onto the blade itself, but at this point, I hardly cared about the pain. I launched my Picati sword like a javelin. However, the moment it was about to pierce his chest, Oshiba Hagane twisted his body in a violent convulsion. The Picati sword grazed his skin, its edge turning crimson. However, that was far from a fatal hit. He proceeded to race towards me with a howl. For the first time during this fight, I felt his killing intent converge at me. I no longer had a sword, and I certainly didn't feel like Oshiba Hagane was an opponent I could take on barehanded. Not to mention, all futures where he is killed by anything other than the sword were denied to me. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to go pick my sword up. I had no choice but to rely on powers I had within myself, but the question was, which ones could actually have an effect on him? I tried reading into the future. I had to either evade or parry his attack. The latter was out of the question, but was the former such a good strategy? My situation would never improve if I continued dodging. Actually, it would only grow worse. That blade could define the future, and also had an automatic tracking system. The more I ran from it, the more at a disadvantage I'd be. The longer this went on, the less futures I had left for myself. So I had to find a way to somehow outperform Oshiba Hagane in the situation. But suddenly, something caught my eyes. I promptly extended my arm and clasped it. It was a street lamp that happened to inconspicuously linger in the vicinity. I clutched his pole firmly in my right hand.
タジカラを
My muscles instantly expanded. I tore the street lamp from the ground and swung it towards Oshiba Hagane. Reacting to my attack, Kabanemaru went after the lamp. It felt as if Kabanemaru was actually controlling Oshiba Hagane at this point, since, judging from his pained expression, his muscles had yet to fully recover. My street lamp shattered to pieces from a single impact. However, Oshiba Hagane's body couldn't handle the stress from forcing a sudden change in the blade's trajectory. And utilizing the time that the occurrence had presented me with, I promptly seized the Picati sword. Oshiba Hagane landed on the ground and faced me, a repeat of our battle's prelude. We glared at each other on a soulless street. Surrounding us were the results of countless days of designers' labor, Roppongi's gaudy buildings that had turned to nothing but tactical cover for beings like ourselves. With no electrical lights in the vicinity, we relied only on the pale moonlight to scrutinize each other's movements.
君を相手にするには漫然と戦ってはいられないようだ。
Oshiba Hagane took a deep breath and spit it out in a strong, sharp shout. The moment he did it, everything about him changed. I could feel obvious killing intent pierce me along with his ice-cold glare.
この妖刀、白山姫カバン。何も考えずと刀が自動的に攻撃してくれる思考パターンが単純だ。この一刀にこの一撃にかけるという気迫がない、殺意がない、闘志がない、強さがない。大方針で切り殺すのは十分だった。
Oshiba Hagane readied his blade again.
僕の絶技を尽くす。神道白山流。行くぞ。
Glittering in the moonlight, the blade went after my neck.
竹見風地
I answered him by forcing electricity to run through my veins and accelerate me to my utmost limits once again. My sword met his blade, the sparks from our impact illuminating the night's air and burning red. And what pisses me off is that I ran out of time. So I'm kind of happy that I managed to get to this point. I'm gonna bring this up, but it's probably gonna piss off, like I said, it's probably gonna piss off some people. But, well, let's just say my work schedule's not been very kind to me, you could say. The days where I would actually have plenty of time to do, well, an extra amount of time, extra hour or such. I won't be having those for a while, because I know next week I'm gonna have even less time than I did this week. But, I hate it, but life's shit, you know? But that's just kind of how it is. I'm pissed off because I want to keep on going, but I just don't have time. So, we'll leave this, and frozen formula, I just realized that's what it's called. Well, right off the bat, I'm kind of liking Oshiba Hagane. His weapon is just freaking cool. Not to mention it's a katana, so it gets bonus points. I got nothing to say, mostly because I'm just partially dead. So instead of leaving you guys with me, with my useless ramblings, I'm going to probably go to sleep. Well, not so much go to sleep, I still have quite a bit to do before I'm even allowed that luxury. So, sorry again that this is a shorter video, but if you guys like this, be sure to let me know. And thank you guys so much for watching this really, really painfully short segment. And I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully it'll be longer.